Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webcast, Pros and Cons Microsoft Dynamics SL versus NetSuite. My name is Kaylin Hensley, Marketing Coordinator with GSI. I'm also very pleased to welcome our main presenter, Perry Kantoriotis. He has 20 plus years selling, implementing, project managing, and architecting mid-market solutions, including Microsoft Dynamics GP, and Oracle-NetSuite, managed 30 consulting services team members, including practice managers for CRM, ERP, and development, project managers and ERP consultants, co-founder and managing partner for an exclusive Oracle-NetSuite solution provider called CloudGenius ERP. He developed and managed implementation of methodologies and ensured top-notch help desk operations in providing exceptional client and associate services. Now, before we get started, I wanted to give you a chance to review our Safe Harbor statement. Now for a quick overview of today's meeting, which will last about 60 minutes. First, we would like to take a moment to go over a couple of housekeeping items as well as provide a brief company overview. Then I will turn it over to Perry to get into our main presentation, which will last about 40 minutes. Next, we'll take a minute to go over upcoming educational events, and then we'll wrap up with a 10-minute Q&A session. If you would like to submit a question, you can do so through the questions panel at the bottom of the GoToWebinar console window located on the right side of your screen. Please note that questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. So if you would like to minimize your GoToWebinar console during the presentation, just click the right-facing arrow key on the top left of the console. Clicking the left arrow key will return the console so that you can input your questions. And now I would like to give you a brief overview of GSI. GSI is a full-service NetSuite consulting organization. We were founded in 2004 and now have over 100 employees. We have offices nationwide and are recognized on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest-growing companies in the U.S. GSI specializes in project consulting, managed services, and other services, with all of our services backed with a 100% guarantee. GSI also provides a broad spectrum of business, functional, and technical consulting services for Oracle JD Edwards, Oracle NetSuite, Oracle Cloud, Salesforce, and other enterprise applications. We also offer an extensive array of cloud hosting solutions for Oracle Cloud, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and JDE Cloud 9. And now I would like to turn things over to Perry for our main presentation and demo.
All right. Kaylin, 1 second. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. All right, let me know when you can see that.
We can see it.
Okay, I just have a couple quick slides to go through. Not a huge fan of slides here, but we'll go ahead and just go through a couple of them. Like Kaylin said, I've been implementing accounting systems for over 20 years, mainly in the Microsoft Dynamics GP side and NetSuite over the last 7 years. NetSuite is all we do. We have a lot of experience with Dynamics SL as well, and we are moving a lot of Microsoft customers, GP, SL customers, from those systems over to NetSuite. A couple of reasons. I want to go over a few of these slides here. Fake cloud versus real cloud. When we talk about NetSuite, really at the end of the day, NetSuite and one other solution called Intact are really the true real cloud SaaS solutions, meaning these systems were built for the cloud. They were built to run on the internet, on Explorer, Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, any one of those. You cannot run these internally. You can't install them anywhere. They are just built to run as a SaaS solution. This fake cloud or private cloud or hosted is really what the Microsoft products are, except for their new Dynamics 365 product, which was released last April. So when it comes to Dynamics SL or GP or any of those other products, you either have to install it on-premise internally or have it hosted in a hosting center somewhere. So just keep that in mind, real cloud versus fake cloud. This is actually one of our clients that we sold NetSuite to. These are all the systems that they were trying to replace. Now, we're not going to sit and tell you that NetSuite's going to replace every single thing, but the focus here is they had Dynamics SL, they had Management Reporter, which is the financial reporting tool to SL, Dynamics CRM, SQL Server to run Dynamics SL, but they were also using reporting services. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 things to install to run their accounting system. Now, Dynamics CRM is definitely out in the cloud nowadays. It could definitely be installed on premise, and then you have to connect Dynamics SL to Dynamics CRM. So this is what we replaced for this client. We replaced Dynamics SL, Management Reporter, which is an external system for financial reports, Dynamics CRM, and the SQL Server reporting services all within NetSuite. The thing you get with NetSuite, it is one system. Everything is built in. So you do get financials. You don't log out of NetSuite and launch another application for financial statements. It's all built within NetSuite. You do get like expense reporting, CRM, inventory, warehouse management, customer, vendor, employee portals, some other things that are not on here, e-commerce. All that is built into the platform, case management and things like that. So you're not always having to go out and get a third-party product like you do with Dynamics SL when you need some additional functionality. That's not to say that the CRM for NetSuite is fantastic, but at the end of the day, some of our clients want to use Salesforce.com, and that's okay. So we do believe in best-of-breed products, but for the most part, most of our clients will use CRM inside of NetSuite, and those that need a more robust CRM tool or need to build some operational functionality in a CRM tool will use Salesforce.com, and then there is a connector that goes from Salesforce to NetSuite automatically. What's the future for Dynamics SL? So there's a lot of things out there right now with Microsoft talking about the future of these products. We know that we have been replacing Dynamics SL and Dynamics GP customers with NetSuite. That is the majority of the work we have been doing this year. So the goal for Microsoft is to move Dynamics SL customers to the new Dynamics 365 Business Central. That was just released last April. The issue with Dynamics 365 Business Central, while at some point might be a good product, it was just released last April, so it's very, very new. I'm not super comfortable selling this to brand new customers. And then those that are specifically on Dynamics SL pretty much rely on the projects module, and that project functionality is very, very lacking in the Business Central of Dynamics 365. So we'll kind of talk about that and focus on that with NetSuite. So what is the future? The main focus is really the web client. So SL has a web client. It's not a true web client. It still needs to be installed somewhere, whether it's hosted or not. Power BI, some web apps, but there's really no real new features with Dynamics SL coming out. Everything's being pushed toward this new cloud offering with Dynamics 365 Business Central and their latest one, which is the old AX. NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP in the world. I'm not going to go through all of this. If you guys want any more information on this, we can definitely send this out. They were publicly traded before Oracle purchased them. A lot of employees, that's all they focus on. Let's go ahead and move on. What do you get? 300 BI components available out of the box. So again, these are reports and dashboards that you run within NetSuite, full mobile capability, phone. We use this internally. We run projects internally, which I'll talk about this a little bit more. But all of this is included inside of the application. So if I want to run reports, I'm going to go to the reports up here in the tab, and run my financial reports within NetSuite. I'm not logging out of NetSuite, launching something like Management Reporter or a third-party product like Jet Reports to go ahead and run my financial reports. Everything is done within NetSuite. This is actually another client of ours that we sold Oracle-NetSuite to, and these guys were on Dynamics SL and CRM. So they had Dynamics SL on-premise. They were considering hosting Dynamics SL. So they had 7 users. To host Dynamics SL with somebody like Engevity, which is a Dynamics hosting partner, is around $250 per user. They had 10 CRM licenses at $75 a month. They had an integration software that they were paying about $800 a month for to connect Dynamics SL and CRM. So at the end of the day, moving this to a hosted solution was going to run them between $2,500 and $3,300 a month. So that's with Dynamics CRM, which is obviously a web-based product. They also had an upgrade and a move to the hosting company proposal of $36,000. So when they received this proposal and the monthly cost to actually host Dynamics SL, they called us up and said, hey, we want to entertain something different. So we went in, 15 users of NetSuite, a fully SaaS solution, no upgrades. Financial CRM, so we replaced Dynamics CRM, reporting, no integration tool was needed. They're paying right around $2,500 a month for NetSuite, and then the implementation cost was around $40,000. So it was a little bit more to implement NetSuite than the cost to upgrade Dynamics SL, with no real features, new features to them for upgrading. So this made a lot more sense. And this is really what's happening out there today with Dynamics SL customers. They're getting proposals to upgrade, which is very, very hefty. They are being pushed to host Dynamics SL, which is also $200 to $250 per user. So they are looking for other solutions like a NetSuite. So we're going to kind of talk about NetSuite and really some of the features around project today, because we do know that Dynamics SL is very strong and robust when it comes to projects. We know there's inventory as well, but NetSuite has that full capability, inventory, financials, projects, that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And now I'm logged into NetSuite. I use Google Chrome. It's really up to you what you want to use. Doesn't matter if it's Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, whatever internet browser you want to use, you can go ahead and use. I do use NetSuite on my phone, on a tablet sometimes. We use this internally. So we are obviously a services-oriented business. We have projects for implementations, for things like that. We budget. We run budget to actual reports out of NetSuite. We send all our billing, all our expense reports are done through NetSuite. Everything for our business is done through NetSuite. We don't carry any inventory, but we are a services business and everything happens through NetSuite. So this is my home page. These are KPIs. This is a demo account. So here's my Cloud Genius account. This is our production account, and I have a lot of demo accounts. So this demo account is basically set up the way that my production account is set up. When I log in the morning, I want to see what's my total bank balance, what's my payables, receivables, income, expenses, that sort of thing. Now, I tend to change these. For example, you'll notice here it says income this period versus last period. I do like to see things more on a yearly basis. So I come in here, have the flexibility to come in here and click setup, and then go ahead and change this income. If I come down to income here, change it from, instead of this period, I'm going to change it to this fiscal year. And then I'm going to go ahead and compare it to last fiscal year. So you can see there's a lot of different options here. Quarters, fiscal years, periods, and that sort of thing. Now, we're also able to headline these and then also highlight them. And so what I mean by that, I'll go ahead and save this. These here are basically highlighted. You'll notice they're in bold, so we're trying to draw attention to them. And then the headline is really this, kind of what do you want to see the up down arrows for. So I have total bank balance here, but I also have it here. So now you see my income says this fiscal year versus last fiscal year. These are all drillable reports. So because we're on the internet, just when I browse, like when I browse Yahoo News, I might right click and open up a new article in a new tab. That way I don't leave my actual homepage. I do the same thing with NetSuite. So I'll come in here to income. I want to see what is the $6 million. I'll right click, open this in a new tab, and that's going to go ahead and render that report that's coming up for this $6,446,000. So I'll go ahead and look at that, and now it's showing me here's my revenues, my expenses. It's basically an income statement that's gathering the 6,446. A couple other things here on the left, some reminders. This is kind of workflow and reminders. So it looks like I have one check to print. I have 11 memorized transactions due. So these are recurring journal entries, recurring AP bills, recurring AR invoices, things like that. I have 53 purchase orders, 7 bills to approve. This is a custom reminder. Basically, I created a report that said, look at all my 1099 vendors that have that were specified as a 1099 vendor, but do not have a tax ID number. And the reason I do that is I want the system to remind me these things so I don't have to go scrambling at the end of the year looking for vendors and sending out emails saying, hey, I really need your W-9. I have 251 bills to pay. I have 16 active projects, my active projects. Maybe I'm the project manager. Any one of these here, if I want to go ahead and click on setup, these are the reminders that I've chosen, but these are all the reminders that are available to me. Anything that you see as C is basically, I don't want to say a custom report. It's a report that's created using the Stage Search tool within NetSuite. So we can have all kinds of reminders in the system for this. I'll go ahead and scroll down a little bit. You can see I have monthly billings. This is for monthly. If I want to go ahead and change this to yearly, I can go ahead and do that. Very easy. If I want to change what these graphs look like, I have a lot of options here, a lot of shortcuts. So this is if I was a CFO. This is typically what the CFO likes to look at. A lot of different categories here. So if I want to go down and change it to controller, and you'll see what does the controller typically do. They set up departments, locations, maybe projects, and these shortcuts go and change based on the role that I selected. I do have all kinds of shortcuts here. These are my personal shortcuts. So we can add this. This is my account reconciliation summary that I added. There's a lot of things added here. It is fully multi-entity. So these are all my different entities that I have within NetSuite. So you're not logging in and logging out. I have more shortcuts, more graphs. All of these are drag and drop. Where do you want to put them? It's a little obnoxious to have a lot of things in here. Maybe some of these graphs are a little bit interactive. So for example, this one here, no customer, is actually skewing my AR aging graph. I can come in here and uncheck that. And now I get a little bit real time. So Ultimate Technology owes us $4 million. This one owes 1.5 and so on. You can just see it just goes down. I have lots and lots of different graphs in here. All right, having said that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk about projects. So my goal is to talk about projects for a minute. I'm going to enter some time to a project. I'm going to enter some expenses to a project, and then I'm going to bill that project. So I want to take you through that process, and then we'll kind of wrap up with some financial statements, and then we'll open it up to questions. So inside of NetSuite, I'll go ahead and pull up a project here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and look it up. So this up here is kind of the Google search of NetSuite. So if I want to look anything up like a project, for example, I'm going to go ahead and type in this project that I know that I want to use. It'll go ahead, I didn't actually find that. So I can look up customers, projects, anything like that. If I want to look up a customer, I can just do CUST and then start typing in like Cloud Genius. So what's going to happen here is my Cloud Genius email address is associated with a lot of different customers here. So it's saying, well, we found the word cloud in all of these. Which one do you want to use? I don't have to type in customer. I can actually just type in Cloud Genius. And what's going to happen then, it's going to say, well, you have somebody that's a contact. You also have someone that's a customer. Harry K. Again, my email address is associated with a lot of these, so it's coming up. We can also search for pretty much anything, employees, PDF documents, that sort of thing. So I'm going to switch gears to project. Here I have a basic project and my project name, project ID, who the name of the client is, Ultimate Technology, what subsidiary, so this is a multi-subsidiary instance, so what subsidiary does this client belong to, who the project manager is. Now, NetSuite has a lot of flexibility, so if there are things in here that you don't see, you can add them. And when I say you can add them, my background is, as I'm an accountant by nature. I went to school for accounting, but I can come in here and add pretty much any field that you want to any one of these windows inside of NetSuite. Now, if you ask me to make these fields do something crazy and put some scripting behind it, I have a technical guy for that, but basic fields, drop downs, text fields, formatted fields, even fields that need to be updated with the NetSuite workflow, those are things that we teach our customers to do themselves. It's something that you don't have to be very technical to be able to do that. So here's a project with a scheduled start date, a calculated end date, my estimated work, actual work, what is the remaining work, and then we do calculate basically % complete. So a very simple project. I have 3 tasks here: discovery, development, deploy, and here are the estimated hours for those projects. And then we're also showing estimated complete. Now, I could spend probably 3 hours demoing this. This is a pretty large module, but I'm going to do it very quickly. To add a new project task, I can just click new or a new milestone if we want to do that. We can view Gantt charts. And so now it's giving me a little Gantt chart here on what this looks like. So I'm able to manage my projects through NetSuite. Now we can also budget. So you can see here's my labor, expense, supplier. So labor is anything that's going to be time entry. Expense will be expense reports. Supplier will be anything purchase order. And then other is going to be anything that you might do a journal entry to track some costs to a project. This is a billing budget. Come through here. We can go ahead and add resources to a project or restrict resources to a project. Right now, this project's open to anybody. We can see a P&L. Here's our revenue, and here's our cost, and our profit, and our margin. And then any related transactions. So if I come in here and see any opportunities that we may associate with this, or any sales, or timesheets, if I click on timesheets here, you'll see here's the time that has been entered against this project. All right, some other things in here is a little bit of a dashboard. So you'll notice this eye icon, and you'll see this on vendors, customers, pretty much every entity record you can find. I go ahead and click on that. It's just going to pop open a dashboard for this specific project. So now it's just kind of giving me a high-level overview just for this project. Here's some project information. Here are some project links. And then here's a quick P&L, revenue, cost, profit, and margin. And then in here, it's just kind of showing me a Gantt chart of where everything's at. And then some KPIs in here, which I can also click setup and change these. Okay, I'll leave this project open. I'm going to come into transactions here, employees, and I'm going to go ahead and enter my timesheet, but I'm also going to open up an expense report in the next window as well. You notice I don't like to leave my home page is always open here in the background. I have my project here. Instead of leaving this project screen, I just opened my weekly timesheet in a new tab. So I'm going to enter, this is something I was just prepping for a little bit earlier, just to make sure that everything worked. I'm going to come in here and add my MPI engineering project. So just start typing MPI. I can actually type anything I want from this client project. It'll come up and find it for me. And then what project task case. So if I click the list, or I can start typing this, you'll see these are the 3. I'll go back to the project. These are the 3 that are available to me. Now, these, I can always make them available or not. So right now, all these tasks are in progress, there are some clients that say, you know what, we're not going to move on to the development task until discovery is done. So what will happen is they make these not in progress, basically not started. And what that allows us to do is if they're not started, when I go in to put my time, I will only see the deploy instead of development and discovery all at the same time. I only see the ones that are available to me. So here I'll go ahead and click one. I can add a note here, which will show up in the invoice. And then here, MPI Engineering Services, that's fine. And I will come in here and I'm going to change this actually. And I'm going to put in that I had 8 hours on Monday and 8 hours on Tuesday, and I'll click add. So a couple things here. You'll see here there's a time in and time out. These are actually custom fields. So we had a client that said, hey, I want to track, I kind of want to use this as a clock in and clock out, but not necessarily use a time clock. So we added some fields in here where they can come in and say, you know what, I started at 9 and I ended at 5. Yeah. So we formatted these. Again, this is something that me as an accountant, I added these here, my demo environment. I didn't need a developer to do that for me. And so they use these for reporting purposes. They actually export this time out of NetSuite and import it up into ADP. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and I'll go ahead and save this. Now, there is a whole approval process that we really don't have a lot of time to get into. So I'm going to go ahead and approve these as soon as it's saved by just clicking Approve All Pending. So the blue are pending. The green just means it's already been approved. And so this is something that if you want project managers to approve, you can go ahead and route these to a project manager or to the accounting department. You have a lot of flexibility on how time gets entered and approved. In the meantime, I will show you as I approve these, my emails are going off. So here's an email that just came in. Employee time entries are ready for you to approve. This is I can log in, just some basic information. I just got this email saying I can approve this time. I'll go ahead and approve all the pending ones. So there's 16 hours of time that we approved, and we're going to bill for that in a minute. Now, expense reports work the same way. So I'll take an expense report. I'm going to create for Larry. Also, you have this drop file here. This is file drag and drop functionality. Okay, and so what this is, just allows us to store receipts or W-9s or whatever it is. So I can go ahead and take, I have double monitors here. So I'm just going to drag this. It's just a NetSuite PDF. I'm going to drag it here. And I can do this in any window I want in NetSuite, meaning I can do this journal entries, AP, AR, it doesn't really matter. What happens when I drop a file here, it'll go ahead and store that under the communication tab, files. So you'll notice here is what I just uploaded. Anyway, so I have Larry. We're going to go ahead and put in a expense report for him. These categories are categories you get to define. So let's just call this airfare. Currency USD, and the amount. And then what I'm going to do is come in here and I'm going to put this to MPI project. And then it's asking, is this expense billable? So I have this defaulted as yes, but if Larry didn't want to bill this to the customer, we can go ahead and uncheck that. For our consultants, this is always checked and this is hidden. So they're not able to uncheck it. The person who approves this is able to say, you know, we're not going to bill this to the customer. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. I will save it. And now Larry said his expense report is complete. In the meantime, on my other screen, you have an employee expense report to approve. So I'm getting emails as we're going through this. I also just got a ding on my phone because I can approve expense reports and time entry reports from my NetSuite phone app. So I'll go ahead and close this. I'm going to go ahead and edit this because I'm an administrator, and I'm going to go ahead and approve this by the supervisor and accounting approval. So this is really the flexibility. It's up to you as a customer to decide, do I want this to go to a supervisor? Do I want this to go to a project manager and then to the accounting? It's really up to you. I'm a full administrator, so I can pretty much approve all of this. So I'll go ahead and save this for Larry. So that was $1,000 expense, and then we had 16 hours of time. Again, this is something that we do twice a month. We bill our clients twice a month on the 15th and the last day of the month, and we bill our expenses and all our time. So we go through this same process. Now I'll come into transactions and customers, and I'm going to invoice my billable customers. So here, this is going to show us, I'm going to just sort this, but this is going to show us all of our customers that we need to bill. So on a typical month, we'll come in here, here's all our customers. If there's an issue with a customer that I know maybe I don't want to send the bill or I want to send it individually, I might uncheck it and then go ahead and submit. And what will happen is these will just get emailed all automatically to my customers, or you can do them individually. So this is a project we were working on. I'm going to go ahead and click the invoice. Instead of submitting it through this window, I'm going to do this individually. So I'll click on invoice. This pops open the invoice. And then here you will see that I have billable expenses. So airfare, travel to client for Larry, it's for $1,000. So that's the expense report. And then billable time. So here is project notes, 8 hours for $250 an hour. So this is what Larry put in as time entry. Now I'm able to also come in here and add anything else that I want. And then billable items is something that might show up from a purchase order. So if there's if something I bought for this customer on a purchase order, I want to bill it to them, that's where this would show up. So in our case here, I'm billing the $1,000 expenses, the $4,000 time. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And so now that this is saved, there's a lot of other functionality like revenue recognition that we're not going to talk about right now. I can go ahead and print the invoice. While that's loading, I do have some other options here like email. So I'll click the email button. And then this is just what the invoice looks like. Really, you're pretty open to what you want these invoices to look like. This is actually not that pretty, but it's kind of breaking things out by labor and expenses, which is nice. But again, we'll put your logo on it. Anything that you want will work here. And so now I also emailed it, so that should also be coming up to my email, which is right here. Please open the attached file to view your invoice, and then I'll open up the PDF. And now this actually printed a different copy. So there's a couple different formats that you can use. This format's a little bit nicer, but you're really seeing here's your air travel, and then here is your 16 hours. We typically like to add who the consultant was or who the resource was that worked the 16 hours, and then here's the notes as well. You do have options to add a link here, pay invoice. So we add a pay invoice link. Your customer can go ahead and click on pay invoice, pops up to a secure website. They can either put in their checking account information or pay by credit card. All right, back to the home page. I'm going to show you one other thing here. If I enter AP bills, I'll open that in a new tab as well. So I could have some subcontractor expense or anything that I can possibly think of. I can come in here, let's see, I can just pick an account. Oh, it helps if I choose a vendor first. Okay. And then here, this defaulted, I'm going to put in a dollar amount. And let's say I wanted to bill this $1,000 to that project. I can come in here and go ahead and look for, here's some of my projects I can bill to. Now this vendor, I change this, I can't change this right now, but this vendor belongs to this subsidiary. So these projects that you're seeing here are projects that belong to this subsidiary. So that 1204 project that I was just working on doesn't belong to the Belvedere subsidiary, but these do. So I'm able to take any expenses that I'm entering an AP bill and say, yep, go ahead and bill this $1,000 to my customer. If I'm using items, inventory items, I actually can bill the adjusted cost of the item. And what I mean by that is if I purchase an item for $1,000, but I actually sell that item for $1,500 to my customer, I can actually say, you know what, go ahead and bill this item, but it'll actually bill the sale price, not my cost. So that's kind of important as well. All right, back to the home page. I'm going to wrap up with a little bit of reporting, and then we'll open it up to questions. So what I like to do is come here to reports. I'll right click, open a new tab. I'm going to close some of these other tabs that we have open over here. All right, and here we have a ton of reports. I'm not really sure how many reports there are, but I'm going to go ahead and go to project. So these are the project reports that are out of the box. You'll notice everywhere as well. If I go to financials, you'll notice here that here's an income statement, and then here's a detail. There's a project cost, budget versus actual, and then a detail. So I like to start with a summary, and then I can always open up the detail. So let's look at project billing, budget versus actual. I'll open that in a new tab. And let's see if we have any data in here. While that's working, I'm going to go ahead and open up a few other reports. Okay, so here is, well, I guess I have quite a bit of data in here. So let me restrict this down to the 1 month and make it a little bit easier to see. Here's a project profitability. Now this is just out of the box. So it's showing you, here's your total cost, your total income, your income cost margin, committed revenue, recognized revenue, and then revenue cost margin. These reports are all very flexible, customizable. I can click on customize and add additional fields. Some options I have here, I can collapse these down. So now I'm just seeing all of our different projects, or I can go ahead and expand them. I can throw this out to Excel, print them, email them, or schedule them. So our project managers here actually get a report every single Monday that shows them their budget hours to actual hours for all of their projects, and they get it into an Excel file right to their email at 6 o'clock every single Monday morning. That's the project profitability. Again, more reports, project cost budget versus actual. This was a project billing budget versus actual for May 2016. So a lot of different reports. And then income statements. Like I mentioned before, I know with Dynamics Excel, you have to have either Management Reporter or JETS reports or BI360 or something like that to get your financial reports. I'm running these within NetSuite. This is my one subsidiary consolidated here. I can go ahead and take the top subsidiary, and now this is going to be a consolidated for all my companies. And then I have a lot of options here. So I can do it by class. So we have dimensions in NetSuite: class, department, and location. You can have unlimited classes, unlimited dimensions. We can rename these to whatever it is you want, depending on how you want to use them. I do like to, when I run my reports, I'm going to go ahead and change this to, let's try 2018 January. And then what I like to do is change this here to accounting period and refresh this. So now I'm getting a January through November. So that's really nice being able to do that. I can change this to subsidiary and refresh this. Just different ways to slice and dice this data. So here's my different subsidiaries that actually have data from January 2018 to December 2018. So these 3 subsidiaries. So these are all 3 of the companies that I have in the total. I can go ahead and change this to class. So class might be business units, sales channels. So I have no class, a general fund, a parks and recreation class, and then a total. And then if you want to do any sort of department, and we're tracking departments, I can go ahead and refresh this, and now I see it by here's no department, here's my administration, and here's my operations. I'm going to change this date. I don't think we have a lot of data in here in 2018. That makes more sense. So 2016 to 2018, here's all the different departments that I have. Again, if I go back to class, depending on how many classes you have, all the classes across the top. And then once again, I'll go through subsidiary. I know there's a lot more data, a lot more subsidiaries. So depending on how many companies you have, these are all the different subsidiaries. Some of these are in different currencies that are being calculated to US, the main currency, and so on. Okay, that's all I have for now. Kaylin, if you want to go ahead and open it up to some questions and then do the closing, that would be great.
All right, thanks, Perry. I got to cover a few follow-up items, and then we'll move into our question and answer portion. Our webcast today is part of GSI's free ongoing educational webcast series on NetSuite. Our webcasts are listed on the screen. To view our most up-to-date schedule, please visit www.getgsi.com/NetSuite webcasts. GSI provides extensive free educational resources for the NetSuite community, including our weekly educational webcasts, online resource center, where you can access our on-demand webcasts, white papers, etc., our monthly newsletter called the GSI Insider, and on-site and virtual workshops. If you would like to sign up for our weekly email reminders for upcoming webcasts, register for our newsletter, or create an account to access our resource center, go to getgsi.com, go to Platforms on the main menu, select NetSuite, and then select the appropriate link on the left. While I see that we've already had a few questions submitted online, I would like to remind everyone that if you would still like to submit a question, you can do so using the questions panel in the GoToWebinar console window on the right side of your screen. If you minimized your console earlier, please click the left arrow to redisplay the questions panel. Okay, our first question comes from Rick, who asks, do projects have their own dashboard so I can see all relevant data in one area?
Yeah, so absolutely. So back in the session, I don't think I'm showing my screen anymore, but when you're on the project window, there's that little icon. It looks like an eye. So that is specific to that project that you're viewing. So you're seeing all the information for that individual project.
Okay, thanks Rick and thanks Perry. Our next question comes from Allison, who asks, can we associate an employee's time to a project but not bill the client or put it on an invoice?
So yes, absolutely. So there are times that we do this as well, where there may be some expenses that we don't want to charge to a customer. So while by default this says go ahead and bill that time or bill those expenses to the customer, the employee can uncheck that box to make it not billable, and that will not show up on the invoice or bill the customer, but those expenses will be tracked to the project itself. And that goes for anything. Again, I can do a journal entry and put cost to a project that's not billed. I can do an accounts payable vendor bill, PO. I don't have to bill those expenses, but I do want to track those expenses to a project.
Okay. Thanks, Allison, and thanks, Perry. Our next question comes from Terry, who asks, is the reporting engine out of the box or is it a third party?
So yeah, the reporting is all inside of NetSuite. So you're not logging, you're not going to another application. So within NetSuite, I click on the Reports tab, and I am running all my financial reports, project reports right from within NetSuite. You're not using a tool like Management Reporter or any third-party tool. There are some third-party data warehouse tools that are available if needed, but we really don't sell any of those because NetSuite's reporting tools are really robust.
Okay, thank you. So that appears to be the end of the questions. Thank you, Perry, and everyone for your questions today. As a follow-up from today's webcast, we ask that you complete a short 1-minute survey when you exit. You will be receiving an email with a link to our resource center on our website where you can access the recording from today's webcast, as well as a copy of the presentation. After today's webcast, we will do the drawing for the $25 Amazon gift card. Anyone who attended the entire webcast will be eligible, and we will notify the winner. If you have any follow-up questions, you can contact Perry or I. We will get back to you. Our contact information is on the screen. Thank you again for attending our presentation and have a great day.
Thank you.